What is up everyone, today I'll be showcasing one of the most broken but also most boring Pokemon for the Evolution Cup, Chansey. I ran it myself for a couple sets, went extremely positive, gained a lot of points, which was enough to put me up to the 37th spot on the global leaderboards. The team I ran with it was Machoke lead with Shadow Dusclops in the back as a pivot, since those two do very well versus Vigoroth, and that's the one thing you really need to keep Chansey away from. Besides that, Machoke in the lead kind of lures out some ghost types, like swap-ins, and if you can get those locked in against Chansey, you're in a very, very good spot. That's exactly what's gonna happen in this first game. You pick up a good lead, and they switch in a Dusclops against my Machoke, and I bring in Chansey, and this is a very dominant matchup. Just look at how much this Ice Punch does. It's nothing, alright? Don't worry, I'm not gonna bother you with this whole matchup. It takes ages, okay? I'm skipping ahead by like 6 seconds at a time here, and we're not even done with the matchup yet, and it's already been like a minute and a half probably. They're gonna get off another Ice Punch here, we're gonna farm down, and now, oh, they get off another one. And now comes a pretty important moment in this match, and basically any match you play with Chansey, alright? You wanna make sure that if you're playing the Chansey, you do not want your opponents to be able to farm up against it, because they'll get like 100 energy and you'll be able to do almost no damage back, which is not ideal. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna throw this Dazzling Gleam, which will do a little bit of chip, and then I'm gonna dip out. I am very much expecting like a Haunter in the back, which will be terrible for Machoke, but if I allow this Vigoroth to farm down my Chansey, I am dead. So I switch to Machoke here, in comes the Haunter like expected, but this is fine. Actually go for the Return here. This is actually a matchup where Return helps quite a bit. Cross Chop is triple resisted, Return only double. It actually does a good chunk versus Haunter, which is kinda wild. Very good counting on my opponent's part there, throwing the Shadow Punch right before I can get to my Cross Chop. So definitely knock me out, actually Ice Punch. Now I can bring in my Chansey once again. I don't know why I'm waiting on my timer, probably shouldn't. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Actually, it does matter. We're almost getting to timeout. And that's always one thing you gotta consider with Chansey. Games will go to timeout. And in order to win that, I need to keep my Chansey alive here. I know that I'm gonna survive this Ice Punch, so I let it go. Haunter dies. And now, if this game does go to timeout, I will win since I have one more Pokemon remaining. So I just gotta make sure I keep my Dusclops alive here, and I should be fine. We're gonna shoot up expecting a Bulldoze, but actually Body Slam bait, which is great. We already see the timer come up now. I don't even care if they shoot any of these moves. I just gotta get off 2 Ice Punches, and we will win the game just because we have more Pokemon remaining. There you go. Time's up. We have 2 Pokemon. They have 1. We win the game. GG's. Next match, we face our Charjabug lead, which is kind of awkward for me. They're running Bug Bite too, which is better for me than Spark, of course, because Bug Bite is resisted on Machoke. But still, they're going to be able to win this matchup, and Discharge will do quite a bit. And I can't really switch in my Dusclops, as this thing also packs Crunch, which is not ideal. I'm going to go for the Cross Chop here, expecting a shield from them. And luckily for me, they do shield up, which is great. Then I'm going to go straight for Return, really hoping to see a no shield. But if they do decide to shield this up, that's fine with me too. I'll just switch into Dusclops at that point. I don't want to let them just take out my Machoke right there. I want to keep it alive for potential Vigoroth or an Alolan Graveler in the back, which we do lure out here, which is quite fine. Dusclops can do some work here at least, and I'll be able to finish it off with Machoke most likely. I'm going to go for another Shadow Punch here. Shadow Punch is really not the strongest move. I think I should be going for Ice Punches here, actually. I would have got it to 2 Ice Punches, and they do more than Shadow Punches. So, bit of a mistake by me there, but that's fine. They have quite a bit of energy, and I don't really want them to Stone Edge my Machoke. Even though it is resisted on Machoke, it still does a good chunk, since Machoke is not the tankiest Pokemon. So I want to keep my Machoke alive, especially considering kind of expecting a Vigoroth on the back. So I'm just going to eat up all this energy on Chansey. That's what Chansey's for. Just eat up every single bit of energy. Every time my opponent farms up to 100, I'll just bring in Chansey, and that energy is almost useless. In comes this Wireless. This is exactly why I packed Dazzling Gleam, but you're going to see, this does nothing. This is actually it's a double super effective move. Doesn't even kill. Chansey takes no damage, but it also deals almost no damage. I know I can farm down this Wireless, so bring him a Choke. Opponent has a very quick switch into the Charjabug though at this point. I kind of think I just have to switch, sweep with Chansey. But, so I let that go, but they actually end up baiting, which puts me in an extremely good spot, because now I can just shield the next one, return a charger bug, and then I should be fine to win the game. Opponent realizes, so concedes the match. GG's. Next game, we face a Dusclops lead, which is just terrible. So I have to switch into my own Dusclops, and out comes a Chansey. This is terrible. We've seen this before from the other perspective. You don't want to be in this matchup as a Dusclops. One important thing to note, their Dusclops in the lead was actually running Feint Attack, which is interesting. Actually makes Dusclops much better versus Vigoroth. Like, you actually absolutely destroy Vigoroth with Feint Attack. So if you want an anti-Vigoroth Pokemon, Feint Attack is definitely the way to go. But it is worse in basically every other matchup, besides like Chansey. Actually, Feint Attack Dusclops also has some chance against Chansey, but you'll still generally lose. I tried it out myself as one. It's actually quite nice, but I feel like Hex's general still better. Anyway, we're gonna dip out of this matchup. I don't want to let my Dusclops go down. I know this game will probably go into timeout, and I want to do my best to try to win that timeout game. So actually switching my Machoke, fully knowing they're going to switch in their Dusclops. But this is okay with me, since I can do some chip, and I can hopefully take out their Dusclops with my Chansey after this. And then I hope that whatever is in the back is, like, not Vigoroth. And if it's not Vigoroth, Chansey plus Dusclops might be able to win the timeout game. Hopefully. That's the idea. But let's see if it works. We're going to get to another cross shop. Another one. Actually, after this, I'm just going to save my Machoke. Yeah, we're going to save the Machoke, switch it to Chansey, and then hope I can win the timeout game. Switch it in, and out comes the Vigoroth. Yeah. This is a pretty common Chansey team I've seen. It's Dusclops, Vigoroth, Chansey. My team, unfortunately, has no play against that line. It's basically, I think I got like 4 losses with this line in 3 sets, and 3 of those were because of that team. Shadow Dragonair is pretty even. I'd say Shadow Dragonair generally wins this just because it has more fast or pressure, but I do outpace with a cross shop here. So I'm going to throw it, take a shield, and then switch into my Dusclops. Since I kind of want to keep my Machoke alive for potential Vigoroth, since this is my best answer there. Bring my Dusclops. Dusclops sometimes lures out Vigoroth since they are scared of Machoke. And then my Chansey is like good in the back. So that's what I'm hoping to do there. Generally, it doesn't really work. But if it don't switch in like a Vigoroth, generally I can take like Switch or something. This time though, they switch into Celio. So I'm still kind of worried about a potential Vigoroth in the back. But if it is Vigoroth in the back, I should be okay to just sweep in Machoke at this point. So I'm not looking too bad here. Gonna throw a couple Shadow Punches into this Celio. This Celio is farming up a bunch of energy, which normally will be quite scary, as Machoke takes a bunch of damage, but I have Chansey. I don't care if people farm up a zillion energy, because Chansey just eats it, and does basically nothing. I'm also doing nothing back, but, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, we just eat these moves. No shield everything. Keeping all my shields from Machoke, and I should be looking pretty good here. At some point, I will throw the Psychic. Actually switch into a Vigoroth right here, like expected. Luckily, I saved my Machoke for it. Just gonna use all the shields on Machoke at this point. Cross-shot this Vigoroth. And after that, Chansey should be able to sweep. Actually, I'm not gonna cross-shot. Cross-shot would have knocked out, so I'll go for the big return on the CMP tie here. This will definitely knock out the Vigoroth. Bye-bye. They likely bring in the Dragonair now. Do I still reach a cross-shot versus that? I don't, but... you know, I have Chansey. I'm just gonna go for the Psychic. Take the Aqua Shield. Actually, this is a harder hitting move than whatever the Celio can throw at me. So this is a smart shield. But like at this point, Chansey is just gonna do what Chansey does best and, well, just tank every single one of his charge moves. He's gonna throw a ton. So again, I will speed this up a little bit. That's 2 Body Slam. They're gonna throw another and another. And I just get to my Psychic, knock out the Celio. GG. It's kind of disgusting what Chansey does, really. Machoke picking up another solid lead in the Celio. My opponent instant switches into the Dragonair. It's just kind of awkward. I don't have like a super solid answer to this thing, so I go for the cross shop. And then I'm gonna dip out into Dusclops, which in hindsight, I don't know if that's the smartest move. Both Dusclops and Chansey are fine versus Dragonair, but... like, 9 out of 10 teams in this meta have a Vigoroth. So, since I haven't seen a Vigoroth on my opponent's team yet, I think it's safe to assume it's probably a Vigoroth in the back. In which case, saving my Chansey might not be the best idea. However, I still have Machoke as well. So as long as I get my Machoke aligned to the Vigoroth, should be okay. I'm going to start going for Shadow Punches here against this Celio. They're going to farm me down, but I don't really care. Like a Shadow Body Slam will do a lot against Machoke, but I'm not going to take it on Machoke. We got Chansey, just take everything, which I'm going to bring in right now. If they have a Vigoroth in the back now, it's still going to be tough though. It's still definitely going to be tough, since Machoke doesn't like taking counters from Vigoroth either. This Celio is going to throw a couple of charge moves at my Chansey. As you can see, even though they're Shadow, doesn't really do anything. It's really, really disgusting how little these moves do. Alright, let's speed up a little bit. Eventually they switch out into Dusclops, and I'm very glad I saved my Chansey. In hindsight, yeah, that's also kind of a common thing I've seen. Dragonair or a Celio, Dragonair, Dusclops. Maybe that's why I saved Chansey. I can't really exactly remember why I went in Dusclops instead of Chansey. Maybe I was expecting a Dusclops. But yeah, this is definitely a common-ish line with Vigoroth in the back as well. So you could really switch either one and be fine. Anyway, I'm just going to speed this up. This is a super boring matchup. Like a super boring matchup. We keep Psyching, they keep Ice Punching. As you can see, it takes freaking ages. At some point, I actually catch an Ice Punch on Machoke. It was kind of nice. Since the timer was coming up, I needed to save Chansey and didn't want to use a shield on it. So it was getting quite low. And yeah, timer's up. A farm down to Celio. GG trainer. Another Dragonair lead. We've seen this before. Kind of an even matchup. Though I don't really want to stay in there. Kind of want to save my Machoke for potential Vigoroth in the back. So I just cross shop, dip out into my Dusclops here. Hope to catch a move. They didn't throw though, but they're going to end up throwing. Oh, they're not going to end up throwing actually. You're going to switch into their Celio to catch a move. Luckily I threw a Shadow Punch though. We're just neutral here anyway. Celio actually has a pretty good matchup versus Dusclops. Even though throwing Body Slam is like a cheapest move. Celio generally beats Dusclops. Just going straight Aurora Beam or Water Pulse, whatever you're running. You're generally fine. So not too happy to see this here, but it's fine. End up making a bit of a mistake and over farming too much, letting them get to the Aurora Beam before throwing my move, but it's not too bad. I'm okay with this. I can just shoot up, throw a Shadow Punch, and then throw another. I think I end up miscounting. Yeah, I thought I needed 2 more Powder Snows for an Aurora Beam, so I thought this was just a Body Slam, but no, they only needed 1 more. The Aurora Beam there, and I go down with a bunch of energy. They're bringing a Dragonair versus my Machoke once again. I catch a move on my Chansey, and in the back, what do you know? Is gonna be a Vigoroth, so that's bad. I just concede the match. That will take minutes still, and I'm not gonna waste my opponent's time, so I gave up. That was over. Just like the video. I was gonna say I hope you enjoyed, but I know most of you are probably watching in agony because we're playing freaking Chansey. So yeah, I hope the rest of your day is better, I guess, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck, your bell trainers.